Hello? Thank you. I know a man with a dream, and he developed and delivered that dream with one word, just one word: love. The creator of Love is iconic American artist Robert Indiana. Perhaps you first experienced love in New York City. For me, it was the stamp. The United States Postal Service printed 333 million of these miniature portraits. I was a young American dreamer. And with that stamp, I mailed loads of love letters. Talk about dreaming. Hey, I'm not kidding. I was president of the David Cassidy fan club in the 2nd grade. Well, now I'm a little bit older, and I realized that Indiana's Love is a communication masterpiece. It communicates quickly, universally, it catches us by surprise, and it gets our attention. So imagine how excited I was to learn that the creator of Love had been a student at the Art Institute where I teach. So I did what any good pen pal would do, and I wrote to him. And it didn't matter if he wrote back or not, because, well, I was used to that. And, eventually I met him. And he toured me through his mansion, and he shared with me his dream, a dream to spread love all around the world. I took this photograph. It's not a great photograph, but this is his original concept painting for Ahava, the Hebrew version of love, which now stands at the Israel Museum in Jerusalem. Oh, and look at this beautiful picture. Indiana's Love is now in 4 different languages, and it is all over the world, so he's realized his dream. I wanted to take the power of love and find a way to bring that positive message to my classroom. Now, this isn't a new idea. John Dewey was talking about social responsibility in education in the 1800s. And basically, what that means is doing stuff that matters. I was fortunate enough to establish a vocational program for 11th and 12th graders in rural upstate New York. I set up a state-of-the-art Macintosh laboratory, and we created logo designs for local community organizations like the hospice and the literacy program. We also went on to win the school's very first Scholastic Silver Key Awards. And then we went on to win the state championships and represent New York State in the National Vocational Industrial Clubs of America. These kids lived in a community where cows outnumbered people 3 to 1. And their projects, actually visualizing a positive future for their community, earned us a trip to New York City, all of us, for 3 days. And it included a Broadway show and a professional hockey game. Yeah, we were living the dream. I thought I was Super Teacher of the Year. I deserved a medal, maybe a trophy. Sounds good, right? Wrong. That's when I got fired. In other words, I was denied tenure. And the reason they gave me was that I didn't submit a daily standardized lesson plan and follow a textbook. A textbook? Are you kidding me? I didn't have time to copy an outdated textbook. I was learning this new technology and teaching it at the very same time. I can't imagine I would have had the same success if I had followed a textbook. I thought the institution of education was stupid. I call it insta-stupid. Now, well, I'm not here to talk about the problem. You can watch some great TED Talks, Sir Ken Robinson, Seth Godin, and they'll talk about the problems associated with things like Common Core and standardized testing and more restrictions on teachers. I'm here to talk about stuff that matters. And I want to ask this question: how do we break that insta-stupid pattern of the status quo and promote meaningful education for future generations? Well, I was pretty upset when I lost that job, but I realized maybe getting sacked was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. I moved to the mountains. I found love, started a family, and then I landed a pretty cool job at one of the world's top art institutes. And I'm really proud to say that my students' winning streak has continued, and we are still producing meaningful work for community organizations and doing stuff that matters. But that wasn't enough. I was looking for more. And a friend of mine had a suggestion. In fact, he had a whole box of them. This is Michael McDevitt, and he took his oversized suggestion box all over New York City and other cities, simply asking for a single suggestion from everyone until he had enough to create a whole book. This book was published by his artist collective, which is named Illegal Art. And that led me to think wrong. John Bielenberg has been influencing and recruiting young people to promote positive social change by challenging the status quo and thinking wrong. Two of my students joined Project M, which is his project. And everything they did failed. They just couldn't get it right. And they realized that sometimes life is bad, but free pie isn't. So, on March 14th, National Pie Day, they gave away free pie. And then they did something that art students usually avoid: math. Pie plus ideas equals conversation, and conversation plus design equals positive change. So they went down to rural Alabama and they teamed up with a nonprofit organization down there, and they opened up the Pie Lab. Pie shop in the front, design studio in the back. And Pie Lab is now a community gathering space which serves local ingredients, local students, and endless possibilities. Back at home, the news hit. Utica was ranked one of the saddest cities in the nation. So we invited Pie Lab up to spread some love. And after a full day of eating pie with John Bielenberg and thinking wrong, we ended up on the couch. To spark appreciation for our sad city, we launched a quest for positivity, which included producing 1,700 handmade thank you cards, tons of buttons, and then we carried our couch all over the city. And people came to our couch. And love came to our couch. And it kept coming. In fact, this newlywed couple, they came back wearing their Utica stuff. And they granted us a fantastic interview, which you can find on YouTube, along with over 200 other interviews. We asked everyone to join us: musicians, everyday people, community leaders and activists, including the mayor. We launched a full-blown social media campaign, and we asked everybody the very same question: what do you love about Utica? And we asked them to put it in writing. The positivity was overwhelming. It was so much. Of course, food and local beer were very, very popular. And here's one for the dreamers. Yeah. You gotta love those magical unicorns. Hi, hoof. The project was so popular and the community wanted more. So with a little help from the city, our fearless student leader took the couch on a summer tour. Community, conversations, and connections. That's what the Couch Utica was all about. But the Couch Utica wasn't the only community collaborator spreading love to Utica. Paula Horrigan has been leading the Rust to Green movement, advancing green futures to New York Rust Belt cities. And how did you enjoy the food today? No hors d'oeuvres? Right? That's thanks to Deborah Richardson and the Leaf Loaf and Ladle. It operates as a professional catering service, but provides real-life training opportunities. Now, how about that Nancy Zumpano in Clinton? She's a high school math teacher, and she gives every single student a $10 bill and asks them to make a difference. And then they use mathematical problem-solving skills to chart the results. In fact, I went to the Make a Difference rally last year, and the passion that those students showed towards this project, seriously, it brought me to tears. These are teachers and educators that are doing stuff that matters. And I know that everyone in here is doing stuff that matters. So today I'd like to ask you to think about what it is and how you can take it to the next level. As I was preparing for this talk, I found people taking their passion to the streets. This is G.K. David III, and he's on a busy street in Syracuse, New York, spreading his positive message. And this is actually just... It's right around the corner. Yeah, you could walk there. This citizen, he's ironically using bad language for a good cause. And, sometimes, whatever it takes, in order to get your point across, you might have to strengthen your language. So, plug your ears if you don't want to hear me curse, because here it comes. I'm talking about shit that matters. Now, that graphic, I actually like to tell you a little story about that graphic. It was done by an amazing artist. Her name is Alexandria Campo, and it was for a project that we did in coordination with another inspiration of mine, the Fearless Cottage. Alex Boguski was named the Creative Director of the Decade by Adweek, and then he walked away from his multi-million-dollar agency in order to start a revolution. He's dedicated to the MADE movement, which promotes a resurgence in American manufacturing. And his motto is collaboration is the new competition. Do you like that? Oh, thank you. It's Alex Boguski. But I really like that. And so I'd like to welcome you to the Meeting House Creative Collaborative. It's a space that I've created to share news, inspiration, lessons, and opportunities. It's a place to promote positive change and do stuff that matters. Now I'd like to introduce you to our very first, collaborative business partner. This is American dreamer and charcuterie expert, Davide Ducevic. Davide found a way to grow his family business by producing and promoting locally farmed charcuterie products with locally designed labels. It's a perfect project for the Meeting House. So I selected my creative team, 3 non-vegetarian student interns, and we headed up to the farm to meet the farmer and the stars of the show. Isn't he cute? So, how many of us have heard of the horrors of factory farming? This farm was the absolute opposite. These were the happiest hogs and the healthiest hogs. Now, when we began this project, I didn't know what charcuterie was. In fact, I couldn't even pronounce it. But Davide was an excellent teacher, and the team produced an award-winning packaging and branding campaign, which will be available on the shelves of Whole Food stores as early as December. So now what? We've got community, we've got connections, we've got creativity. What will be the outcome? I don't know. And the reason is there is no textbook. And we're going to learn as we go, and we're going to do stuff that matters, and we're going to launch a campaign, and I hope you'll join us as we launch our campaign, Inspired by Love.